Okay, so let's get started then. So I want to first start by introducing myself. My name is Lori Overton. I am the proud owner of Overton Travel, and I have the best job in all the world. If you want to call it a job, I have the pleasure of taking good people like yourself all around the world and showing them this beautiful earth that we live in and and many different experiences that there are available to you. And so tonight is part of our Wanderlust webinar series in which we take you on fantastic voyages around the world. And tonight I want to focus primarily on the 2024 trips because we only have a couple of months left in 2024, and I want to wrap up these trips, and I want to give you guys one more chance to get them booked, because as soon as I close the trip, I always get an email from someone saying, Lori, can we get one more in this trip? Do you have space for one more? Is it closed? Is it closed? So what I want to do is give you one last chance to go through these trips. If you're on the fence, let me see what I got to do to push you over to the other side or give you the information that you need to make a decision. So I'm going to go through the 2024 trips. And then later on, I have a special guest with me, Mr. Gumbo Mhendini. He is the CEO and founder of Experimental Travel Africa, and he is my partner on my amazing East Africa trips, my amazing Ghana trip, and some more exciting news that we have. So at the appropriate time, I'll bring him in and have him assist me with that portion of the presentation. So, all right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to share my screen. Okay, so hopefully y'all can see my full screen here. Okay. And so for those of you who've been with me before, this is a webinar format. You can see and hear me, but I cannot see nor hear you. So the way that we can communicate is through the chat box and the Q&A box. And so if you have any questions about the tours, please put them in the Q&A box. And at the end of the presentation, I will look in the Q&A box and answer your questions at that time. And if you just want to go ooh and ah about a trip, you can put it in the chat box. If you've been on a particular trip that I'm talking about, say you've been there, let other people know how great it was so that they can have that same amazing experience as you did. So without further ado, let's get started. We're going to talk about the 2024 remaining trips. But before we get into that, I just want to tell the new people about Overton Travel. Overton Travel is a Black women-owned travel company specializing in creating life-changing experiences around the world. And they really, really, really are life-changing experiences. We do bucket list trips. We are a full-service travel agency. So just about anything you want to do, just about anywhere you want to go, we can take you there. You want to go on a yacht to Croatia? Check, we got you. You want to go feed giraffes in Kenya? Check, we got you. You want to take a hot air balloon ride over Cappadocia? We got you. So just about anything you want to do, we can take care of that for you. So it's all about creating those experiences and making it convenient for you. You dream it, we can make it happen. Also, I'm going to say this, I'm so proud. This gives us some credibility for some of you who are on the fence. Last year, we were made the list with BET of one of the top 5 Black travel groups you need to use for your next vacation. So I was so excited about that. I didn't even know about it until one of my clients called and told me we were on the list. So proud of that. So for those of you who traveled with us before, you already knew this. And for those of you who haven't traveled with us, you need to book. And so you too will learn why we are one of the 5 top travel agents for you to travel with, travel agencies. So what I want to do next is just show you a little bit about our trips. I got a quick video coming up, and sometimes, most of the time, a picture is worth 1,000 words, or a video is worth 1,000. Okay. So that just tells you a little bit about what we've done. I think most of that this year, either this year or within the last year. So picture yourself in one of those pictures in the next presentation. Okay, so let's start with the trips that are coming up next. Greece. Oops, sorry guys. So let's go with Greece. Greece is coming up in September. So if you really want to go to Greece, you got to sign up like tonight or tomorrow. Let me know. Y'all know I love, love, love Greece. I have personally spent two of my birthdays in Greece. When I wanted to go somewhere to celebrate, I have chosen Greece twice before. So we're going to Greece September 12th to the 21st. We do have a couple of spaces left in there, but let me just tell you some of the highlights of Greece. We spend 2 nights in Athens. So we fly from New York or wherever you are in the U.S. to Athens. We spend 2 nights there, and while in Athens, of course, we're going to go do a tour, city tour of Athens. We're going to go to the Acropolis. You're going to go up to the Parthenon, have amazing views. We also have an optional tour of Dinner in the Sky, which most people sign up for. It is wonderful and wonderful experiences. Great food and amazing views of the city. Then, after spending 2 nights in Athens, we take the ferry. We travel like the Greeks do. We take the ferry over to the island of Mykonos. I love Mykonos. Mykonos is a beautiful island. It has probably some of the best beaches of the Greek island. So, and also Mykonos is known as the party island. So it has a nice upbeat, lively atmosphere. That's amazing. So, and also you probably know Mykonos more for the windmill. It's famous for the windmill, and you see all the luxury yachts and the harbor there. So beautiful island. We spend 3 nights in Mykonos, and then after 3 nights in Mykonos, we take the ferry and we go over to Santorini. And I have to say that Santorini is probably one of the top 10, if not even the top 5 most beautiful places in the world. Absolutely jaw dropping. One of the best views I've ever seen is coming up to Santorini on the boat. You have to go to Santorini on the ferry. Then we spend 3 nights in Santorini. And then what I like about this trip, it is one of the few trips that are kind of like a vacation as well. You know, you guys know that most of the Overton Travel trips, I say, it's a cultural experience. It's not a vacation. You will come home tired. That's kind of my motto. I kind of bend the rule a little bit in Greece. You will have some downtime because you have the beaches and all of the hotels, y'all, fabulous. So you do want to spend some time at the hotel. I kind of I kind of leveled it up a little bit more this year with the hotel. The hotel in Athens is the same one we use. It's dead smack in the middle of the Plaka district. You walk out the hotel and all the shops are there. In Mykonos, we're at the Royal Myconian, which is Instagrammable, is fabulous. Beautiful pools near the beach. And then in Santorini with the Arasana, which is, you can't get, I think it's probably the hotel that's the closest to Fira, right dead smack in the middle of town. So if you're thinking about Greece, just do it. Just do it. Wonderful, wonderful trip. 8 nights, 9 to 10 days. You will not regret the Greece trip. The prices here is $59.99 per person, double occupancy. Just a note on prices: all the prices include airfare, your hotel, your tours, and most of your meals. So pretty much all inclusive. You pay and you show up. Okay. Next trip, Morocco. Morocco has been a crowd pleaser over the last couple of years. The dates are September 16th to the 28th. This is tour 2 because I do 2 trips a year to Morocco. That's how popular it's been. And I have been limiting the size of the group to no more than 20, 25 people. So I've decided, instead of having one large group, let's have two smaller groups. This trip is an expedition. I mean, once you're done with this trip to Morocco, you will feel like you have done Morocco. It is 12 days. I think 10, 11 different hotel nights. You will visit 7 different hotels. So it's like one night here, 2 nights here. You spend 3 nights in Marrakesh at the last hotel, but you will travel through Morocco like a nomad. And so let's go through some of the highlights. Of course, one of the highlights is the camel ride, and you actually spend the night in a luxury tent in the Sahara Desert. Yes, you're in a tent, but you got AC, you have your own bathroom. So come on, you know how we do, right? You're going to take a Moroccan cooking class, which is fabulous. I had one of my clients on the last trip. She shall remain nameless. She cried at the end of the cooking class. Like, oh my goodness. She's like, Lori, I'm so touched. The cooking class is amazing, and the Moroccan food is delicious. So you will not go hungry on this trip. You're going to visit markets and medinas for unique items. You will shop till you drop in Morocco. A lot of people end up getting another suitcase. They get stuff sent home. I think the rug on my floor here is from Morocco. Argan oil, argan oil. Everyone's like argan oil. Great for buying the beauty supplies. Great for buying rose oil. Great for leather goods. We go to the tanneries where they make the leather. I mean, just a lot of different things you can buy in Morocco. We're going to visit the markets and the Medinas and have a great time in that craziness there. We tour inside the Hassan II Mosque, and what's unique about that mosque is one of the few mosques that allow non-Muslims to actually visit inside and take a tour. A lot of the other mosques we visit outside of the perimeter of it. You become being immersed in Moroccan culture. When we go to the desert, we visit the nomads. We sit with them under their tents. We drink tea with them and eat dates with them. So it is a true cultural experience. And like I said, you stay in 7 different hotels, and they all are different. You go from the 5-star, the Sofitel, the Tour Hassan, to the luxury Kent, to the Riad, the traditional Riad that has the pool in the center. So you have a true experience throughout the country. This trip is $47.99 per person, double occupancy, worth every single penny. Let me take you to the Black History Tour of Oklahoma. You guys know that I love talking about the history of Black people all around the world. And then every year I try to do at least one US based trip that talks about the history of African Americans in the US. And this year, Oklahoma is the place that we're going. And I know some people say, Oklahoma, why Oklahoma? And let me tell you why Oklahoma. We'll be there from October 4th through the 10th. And it's just amazing history that you don't learn this in school a lot. I didn't learn any of this in school. And so I think I like that travel fills that gap between what we learn in school and what really happened. You can learn this through traveling and through learning about things through tourism. And so some of the highlights of the Oklahoma trip, you're going to learn about Black Wall Street and the Tulsa Race Massacre. That was in the news recently. I think it was one of the anniversary. But, Oklahoma had a thriving Black community, and it was just burned down. So you learn about the history of that. You'll see some of the few remaining buildings of that time, and learned what happened and what caused it, and then what has been done since then to try to rebuild. You'll learn about the Oklahoma civil rights movements and the people that fought there. We talk a lot about Martin Luther King, and we talk about a lot of things that happened in Alabama and Mississippi and in Georgia. We talk about things that happen in the South, but things happen throughout the country. Oklahoma has a strong civil rights history. To learn about that, and you'll see some of the 13 remaining all Black towns. The 13 remaining towns, I think we probably go to about 3 of them and learn about that history. You visit the National Cowboy and Western Heritage Museum. I mean, you're going to learn about Bill Pickett and learn how he started, like I think bulldogging in the rodeo. You'll learn the origin of the name cowboy. Think about it a minute. You know, these are grown men, but they're called cowboys. You'll learn why they're called cowboys and the impact of African American in the cowboy lifestyle. You'll also learn about the Buffalo Soldiers as well. You'll learn about some of the first black marshals. So there is so much history there and black history there. And then we can't take you to Oklahoma City, and not take you to the Oklahoma City National Memorial, which is dedicated to the victims of the Oklahoma City bombing. So we do that as well. And of course, like any other Overton travel trip, y'all gonna eat well. We got some good barbecue in here, some good food, some good eating. So we're gonna learn, we're gonna eat well, we're gonna drink well, and you guys are gonna have a good time. So if you're looking for a trip in the U.S. That combines a little history and culture, this Oklahoma trip is right up your alley. So do consider that. So East Africa, I'm going to come back to East Africa because I'm going to have our special guests chime in on the East Africa portion. So we'll come back to that one. Let's go to Southern Africa. Southern Africa, y'all know I love me some South Africa. I can't even hide it. I can't even hide it. But this trip, what I like about it, it includes South Africa, Eswatini, and Zimbabwe. Y'all get to check off three countries in one trip. November 8th to the 22nd. Epic, epic, epic trip. I did the same trip in January with Bethany Baptist Church, and they loved it. So let me tell y'all what we're doing here on this trip. So we're going to start in South Africa, and we're going to do kind of like my classic South Africa tour. We'll start in Cape Town. You're going to go to Table Mountain and the Cape Peninsula, which is just gorgeous. I can't even hide it. I just love it. I can go back to South Africa every year, and I think I do in general, sometimes twice a year. You'll get to visit Robben Island. Robben Island is infamous for being where Nelson Mandela was in prison during the apartheid period. You'll go taste wine in Stellenbosch. Y'all know if you go to South Africa, you're going to drink some wine. And we visit Stellenbosch. We visit two wineries while we're there, so you get to try the different types of wine. And we also have lunch in the wine country. Also, you're going to go to Soweto, South Africa's largest township, and we're going to take you on an amazing tour of Soweto. Some of you guys were with me when we went in March, and it was just great to have that tour done by locals. And all of my tours are done by local people, by the way. We always have an Overton Travel representative on the tour, but the actual tour guide usually lives in that city, or at least in the country. Okay. Then once we leave South Africa, we'll move over to Eswatini, and you're gonna experience village life in Eswatini. And if you don't know Eswatini, it was formerly known as Swaziland, and they changed their names a couple of years ago. You will also go on safari in Kruger. So I know that a safari is kind of a dream come true for a lot of people, as it should be. It is a bucket list activity and something that I never tire of. So on this trip, you get to go on a wonderful safari in Kruger National Park, and so you go to the panorama route in South Africa as well. Beautiful, beautiful views, and then one of the other highlights of the trip is you're going to go to the mighty Victoria Falls, and so it is. I think it is the largest fall by volume. I can't remember. There are three falls that I go to as part of Overton Travel trips. And we go to Victoria Falls, we go to Iguazu Falls, and there's also Niagara Falls. And so I think Victoria Falls is probably either the tallest fall or the one by volume. But anyhow, whatever statistic that it masters, it's just beautiful, beautiful to see. So this is about, I think it's a 12-day trip, a 14-day trip. Come do it. $74.99 and awesome, awesome, awesome trip. Dubai. This is tour two. Dubai is another tour that we go on twice a year. I usually go to Dubai in March or April, and then also again in November. So in the spring and in the fall, when the weather is not too hot there, and it's just beautiful to be at. Dubai, I think most people know about Dubai. Dubai is glitz, glamour. Everything is bigger in Dubai. You know, the buildings are taller, the lakes are deeper, the snow is wetter. I mean, Dubai is, I would call it Vegas on steroids, but a little classier. This is a great trip. It's 1 week long. Most of the other trips that I've gone over, other than Oklahoma, they've been 10, 12, 14-day trips. So if you're kind of short on time or just don't want to spend that much time away from home, Dubai is great. We leave on a Saturday, we come back the following Saturday, and we hit all the highlights in this week. So let me tell you what we do. First of all, you're going to get off the plane because you land about 8 o'clock in the morning before your hotel is open. No worries, you know we got you. We take you right to the Burj Khalifa, the tallest building in the world. So within a couple hours of landing in Dubai, you already got some Instagrammable pictures. So we go there right away, then we get you checked in the hotel, and then you can rest and things of that nature. But you check that off your list. Then also one of the other highlights of the Dubai trip, you got to do dune bashing in the desert. So you know you're going through the desert, you're in the jeeps, and you're just having a great time. And we have a barbecue that night. So that's where you have the local foods, and you have the belly dancers and the fire eaters, and you're eating outside. So it's like being in a Bedouin camp. So that's always a great night of the trip. You're going to shop in the gold and spice souks. This is another one of those trips where you can do a lot of shopping. You can do some damage. If you're into gold, I recommend that you do your research before you come so you know what price to ask for when you're bargaining for these items. And you must bargain. Let me see what else we do. Oh, we do a dinner cruise on the Dubai Marina and a traditional dhow dinner boat. So that's always fun. The marina is beautiful. You see the skyline of the city. We dance. We dance. Y'all know if we're gonna be in a boat, the electric slide is gonna it's gonna come out at some point. So we have a good time at that evening. And then we go to Abu Dhabi, of course. And Abu Dhabi and going to the Sheikh Zayed Grand Mosque is definitely one of the highlights. You have to be dressed appropriately to go to the mosque. So we all, you know, get dressed up in the traditional outfits and for the attire to be respectful. And we go to the mosque, which is the most beautiful mosque I've seen personally. So there may be others, but it's the most beautiful one that I have seen. So Dubai is always a crowd pleaser. 1 week only. Direct flight from New York on Emirates Airline. It's a great trip. Iceland. Let me tell y'all about Iceland. Iceland is a hot trip. Um, Over the last couple of years, Iceland just came out of nowhere, and now I understand. Iceland, this is also one, it's November 17th to the 23rd. This is also one of those short trips for you. It's just 1 week long, but we pack a lot into this trip. Short flight, I think is about 5 hours or so. We have a direct flight from New York to Reykjavik. So you leave here in the night, you're there early in the morning. And so let me tell you about the highlights of Iceland. Of course, one of the biggest highlights is the hunt for Northern Lights. And we call it a hunt because it really is a hunt. There are no guarantees you'll see it. So we take you out into the rural areas where it's really dark because in order to see the Northern Lights, you have to have black sky. So we take you out into the rural areas, and you and your tour guide will go hunt for those Northern Lights. You don't know when you're going to see them, 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock in the morning, or what have you. So just be ready when that hotel, you know, calls your room and says, we see them. And you come out and you go and see it with your own eye. So you're going to hunt for Northern Lights, which is always a highlight. You're going to visit the world-renowned Blue Lagoon, which is an amazing lagoon and spa. and you're going to just go there and soak and have the healing properties of the waters there. So that's also another highlight. Icelandic cuisine is good. I remember one of the first things one of my clients told me when she came back from Iceland, because people wonder, well, how's the food in Iceland? It's going to be good. She said, Lori, the food was seasoned. It was seasoned so well. The food in Iceland was good. And then also what you'll learn in this trip, you're gonna go along the southern coast of Iceland, and it is all about the beauty, all about outdoors. I think we go to maybe just one or two museums on the trip, maybe, yeah, but they're the non-traditional museum is all about being outside, being with nature. You're going to see the volcanoes. You're going to see the glaciers. You're going to go to black sand beaches. You're going to see the beautiful waterfalls. Some of them may be frozen this time of year, and it's not as cold as you think it is. And so the folks that went last year said it was just like being in New York on that same time of year. As long as you bring the appropriate, you'll be fine for that, for the temperature there. But it's just gorgeous, and it's a unique trip, offering you different experiences. So Iceland is also one of those trips that's short. You need about a week. Price right, $39.99, direct flight. Three different hotels though. You're still gonna be moving around. Three different hotels. You start in Reykjavik, then you go out to the rural areas, and you're back in Reykjavik. So definitely, Iceland should be on your list. Okay, so I'm now going to go back. Let me stop and see if there are any questions. And so I don't have. So if you have any questions about any of the trips, you can put them in the Q&A box. So I'll come back to them a little bit later. But what I'm going to do now is go back to East Africa. Okay, I'm going to go back to East Africa. This is probably my new favorite trip. I was in East Africa last year, December, checking out this trip. I stayed at every hotel as part of this trip, and experienced it firsthand before I brought it to you. And I had been looking for an East Africa trip for several years, since I would say since 2017, 2018. Could not find the right mix of nature, wildlife experience, and cultural experience until I came across this version of the trip. And so I will be working with Experimental Travel Africa on this trip. And Gumbo and Mandini has to join us. He's been so gracious to join us tonight to answer any questions about the trip. So I'm going to walk through it, and then if Gumbo has some certain things, he can add to it. But I'll just go through some of the highlights of East Africa. When you think of East Africa, you think of Kenya, Tanzania, and you think of Zanzibar. Of course, one of the first things you think about is the Serengeti. Serengeti it blew me away. I've been on safaris many times before, but I felt like the Serengeti was the ultimate safari. And for those of you who are on this trip, you will see two. Just a little background. We had two trips to East Africa this year. The first one sold out. We got over 30 people, and I shut that down. And we have the second trip, which still have a few spaces in it. So if you've been thinking about it, I said there's no time like the present. So let me tell you more about this. So we go to the Serengeti. You witness the glory of the African bush on the safari of lifetime. You also get to visit the Maasai tribe and learn about their culture. You'll visit the Hazebe tribe and learn about their culture as well. Like I said, it's a good mix of nature and cultural experiences. You have close encounters with the Giraffe Center in Nairobi. So for those of you who have seen pictures of people feeding the giraffe, you too will do that. I did it myself. They're a little greedy something, huh? But yeah, you can feed the giraffe. You go into the Ngorongoro crater, and so it is an imploded volcano, and the vegetation there, the wildlife there, is like none other. So that is just an amazing experience. Then after I have you ripping and running around the mainlands in Kenya, after you rip and run around Tanzania and on safaris with the local tribe, we then fly you to the Spice Island of Zanzibar. The Enchanting Island is a place where dreams are made of. You're on the Indian Ocean. We're at an all-inclusive resort. All your food is included. You have no worries. Beautiful beach, beautiful spas, and you can kind of just wind down your East Africa experience. But also while you're there, we will take you um, to to the spice farm so you can learn about the spices there. We'll take you to Stone Town. We'll also take you to learn about the East African slave trade as well. Not many people know about the East African slave trade. So this trip ticks all the boxes with the different experiences as well as the amazing five-star accommodations, y'all. Um, you're gonna be sleeping in style everywhere we go. I think there are maybe 4 or 5 different places that we stay, and each place gets better than the next one. And so that is the East Africa trip. We do. This was probably my hot trip this year. Like I said, the first trip sold out. The second one, we do have some space available. So if you are interested in it, I would say don't walk but run to overtontravel.com to sign up for this trip. Kuma, did I leave anything out about East Africa?
Uh, no, Jumbo, and very good morning from Tanzania. Um, Happy to be here, Laurie, to welcoming on this journey.
Thank
And
you.
you have highlighted at least everything. But speaking of East Africa, you're speaking about almost 7 to 8 countries, which comprises of different landscape, comprises of different gastronomy, comprises of different culture. So 2 countries which you're going to visit for these particular trips. Actually, you're going to cover the highlights of East Africa. But again, probably next time when you're visiting here, you'll be able to see some other things, such as gorillas and, of course, other things. So, just to add on that, Laurie, for East African trips, remember, when you're coming to the region, which of course has diversity when it comes to nature, when it comes to tribes, like Tanzania itself has more than 120 tribes. So you'll be here just to learn not just the about the culture, about how they live. So it will be one of the hands-on trip when it comes to what need to be seen into the destination. So it's not just about to see, rather also to get on the ground. So at some point you get to involve yourself with locals. That means you'll be visiting some townships. So you get to see how they do their things and when it comes to community engagement. And that's also commemorate the essence of visiting and of course giving back to the community. So that means you'll be visiting different communities to see how they cook or how they do different kind of things. Addition to that, speaking of the game drive, you when you visit East Africa, you are typical into the wilderness. That means you get to see and of course to search animals. I mean to encounters closer to the nature. So probably be having close encounters with elephants, with rhino in a very close distance, whereby your expedition leader or your guide will be able to explain to you very well and will be able to ask questions. And we encourage every person to have a window seat in the sense that all our safari jeep do have your window seat, and those who prefer to take pictures, we have all cars, I mean, fabricated to make sure that you can get your good pictures. And of course, you can stand up, you can see 360 all over when you are in the Serengeti or when you are, I mean, in the area which you'll be visiting, especially Ngorongoro crater. So Ngorongoro crater, it's also one of the area you can't miss. So in Ngorongoro crater itself, you can find not less than probably southern animals. And you can also see some remaining pattern of wildebeest, which are always resident in the crater. Also, you'll have a chance to get to see some rhinos in the area because it's one of the wildlife sanctuary which you find in the area. Also, apart from that, you'll be visiting the cradle of humankind and also the place whereby it has been regarded as the first place which the first skull for human beings have been excavated by Dr. Lucy Leakey. So that means you have a chance to visit this museum and get to see the work which have been done for a number of years, which showcase the remaining of the past civilization of human, which of course now you can also go and connect with Hadzabe people. Hadzabe people is the only living ethnic group which are still hunting and gatherers. So you'll connect between the nature, you'll connect between the evolution of human according to the history and the books. Of course, science does say that. And then you'll get to see in the museum how people have been evolved from one stages to another. Also, if you are super lucky, while you're in Arusha, you get to see the Mount Meru, which is the second tallest mountain in Africa. I mean, in Tanzania as well. Apart from that, be sure to get yourself to visit different places to do shoppings because remember, if you're speaking about Tanzanite, for instance, Tanzanite is a rare gemstone which is only find or you can only find it in Tanzania. And of course, it will give you time to explore and to see how you could definitely try to see. Of course, if you want to buy, you can negotiate. Some other part you can negotiate. Some of them you can't negotiate. So yeah, thank you, Laurie. I think if there is any question, it will be on me and you. I'm happy to assist with any question. Addition to that, when we're visiting East Africa, we would recommend you to grab the bag, which of course 23 kilogram each per trip, because most of the trip in East Africa they are very planned in the sense that, for instance, if you're flying into the bush, you'd be required to have only one piece of about 23 kilogram, and of course, which you'll be allowed to take inside for checking luggage. And for carry-on, you only allow one piece, which is of course 0 to 7 kilogram. Then yeah, they also prefer to have duffel bag instead of hard case, and that give more room for you to be used to be carried in the safari jeep sometime when you are traversing from one particular area to another. So that's also, it's one thing you need to keep in your mind. Like for the luggage, duffel bag is very, recommended. And of course, from around 0 kg up to 23, which is recommended for the flights from one place to another. So thank you so much, Gail.
No, thank you, Gumbo. Thank you so much for adding that additional color to the East Africa trip. And thank you for also explaining that East Africa is over 9 countries, so we're only going to 2 as part of this trip. So I should probably just call it Kenya and Tanzania. And there is so much going on. I actually visited Rwanda recently as also part of East Africa. So this year, we're kicking off our foray into that region of Africa, and then next year we'll be going deeper into East Africa with trips to Rwanda and Ethiopia and the surrounding areas. So Gumbo is my partner in East Africa and beyond. I would have to say we just did Ghana together as well. So we have a lot of things in store for you. But before we get to 25, I got to close out 24. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen here and to see if anyone has any questions here. So I'll just wait another minute to see if there are any questions about the trips. It's pretty quiet here. So either I was crystal clear? Are you all on overtontravel.com right now? I'm signing up. So I'll give it another minute to see if there are any questions about any of the outstanding trips right now. Or oops, we have two hands raised. I can't answer your call. You answer your question with your hand raised. If you could put your question in the box, that'll be in the Q&A box, or even the chat box. I can monitor either one. So I see the hands are raised, but if you could put your question in the chat box, that'll be great.
Lori, sorry,
Yeah.
just to add on East Africa, I'm not sure if we did highlighted on the safari on the hot air balloon. Remember?
Ooh,
Can you
yeah,
can you
yeah,
give
yeah.
us your experience about the hot air balloon on the Serengeti soaring? And yeah, can you give us your experience about that?
Yeah, it was wonderful. It, it was a great experience, beautiful morning. It's almost like I did a lot of things I had done before in Tanzania, but I liked it better there. So I had been on hot air balloon rides before, but this one was just really great. I like it because it didn't go as high up as some of the other hot air balloon rides that I've gone on before. It went high up just enough so you feel like you're floating, but then you can still see the animals. Down on the ground. So you can still see the elephants and the giraffes and the other different animals while you're having that experience. So you're floating above the bush, but you're still seeing the wildlife. So I thought that was an absolutely wonderful experience. And then, it was really nice after the hot air balloon ride. We landed safely, and then we had our champagne toast, and then our out of Africa type breakfast afterwards. So it was just a glorious morning, breathtakingly beautiful experience that I totally recommend that you do when you are in the Serengeti. So that is not an activity to be missed. Okay, so thank you for reminding me about that experience. And then next year, one of the experiences we will bring up will be going to Rwanda and gorilla trekking. And so if you follow me on Facebook, you've seen me up close and personal, really close with some of the gorillas. So more things to come there. Okay. All right, then. So I think I'm going to. I've covered everything that I have wanted to cover on this call, and so I'm not going to take up any more of your Wednesday night. I want to thank you all for joining this webinar, getting some more information. What I always say is Overton Travel and these trips are not a secret. Do not keep this to yourself. Go out, tell your friends and your family about these wonderful experiences that are available to them, and let them join the Overton Travel family. So if you have any questions, if you need more information, all of the trips that I have gone over tonight, they are on overtontravel.com in the group trip section. You can read the itineraries every day. You can find out about them. And if you still have any more questions, you can contact my team at bookings@overtontravel.com. You can contact me directly, and any one of us will be more than happy to answer your question. Okay. All right. Thank you for joining. Have a good night and be blessed.